Hello, Steve Arts 89. Well, I haven't really commented on this. I've seen this story growing in the media over the last week or so, and it's basically a young, pretty blonde girl, and the media is, of course, fixating on it. And yes, it's a horrible thing. It's a tragedy, but there are plenty of other tragedies happening to people of color and minorities that the media doesn't care about. And it's very frustrating when you see them just fixating on this young, pretty white blonde girl. Like somehow her death is more important than other people's deaths. Now I understand, like I said, it's a tragedy. The people involved, of course, are devastated. But there are other people who are going through the same thing who are not, their stories aren't getting any attention. And it really bothers me. Now this girl, her name was Lilly James. She was 21. She worked as a sports assistant and coach at the St Andrew's Cathedral School in Sydney. The man who allegedly killed her was Paul Tayson, who was 24 years old. It also worked at the school. Apparently there's video allegedly of him walking into the gym behind her or after her, and then him coming out alone, and of course her being found in the gym having severe head injuries, having been beaten. And then apparently he went to some cliffs in Sydney's east, and then they found a body in the water. It was stuck there for a while. They couldn't get to it because it was too difficult, but they eventually identified it as Paul Tayson. So it's a fairly clean-cut sort of case, it looks like. And it's not a mystery. It's not interesting in that sense. We know what happened, but it's getting a lot of attention. And I didn't even need to look so much. I could see all the thumbnails everywhere of this pretty young blonde woman. And it's really frustrating that the media just focuses so much on that particular image and that particular person. And the fact that, sadly, it's not just white people that would focus on a story like this. Also, other people, minorities and so forth, they care more about what happens to us than what happens to, their stories. Sadly, so they're part of the problem. And I just don't understand why we elevate and focus on, white people and young white people, and particularly young white women, as like the ultimate most important sort of person or victim out there, when there's other people who, their stories are just as tragic and just as horrible, but no one cares about them. The media doesn't focus on them, and it's annoying. And I saw it and I was like, oh, of course, pretty young white girl, they're going to focus on this and they're not going to care about anything that happens to anyone else. And also the fact that they keep not mentioning that it's the St Andrew's Cathedral School in Sydney. They keep just mentioning a Sydney school because they don't want to give them bad press. Well, I think they should get bad press. Someone on their staff just killed someone else on their staff. It says a lot about the culture there, I think, and the entitlement of certain white males who seem to. Apparently he was allegedly enraged because they had a brief relationship, it didn't work out, and how dare she not, in his mind, how dare she not, do what he wanted or whatever, because he's entitled white young male at a privileged Catholic cathedral, whatever you call it, school in Sydney. So it's all very cliche and tragic, but no more tragic than any of the other, cases of murder that have happened in Australia in the meantime, with other people. And it's not the only one. They act like this is the only murder that's happened in Australia ever. And they always do that whenever it's a pretty young white woman. I'm not trying to disrespect Lily James. It's horrible what happened to her. She looks a lot like one of my nieces who's about the same age, so it is, disturbing. But you have to remember there's other people, other victims that don't get the attention that, when these sort of stories get all the attention in the media, then, there are other stories that don't. But then again, those stories probably wouldn't get any attention anyway. They'd find something else more interesting to the general public than, the tragedy of minority people. So yeah, just had to comment on it. Kind of didn't want to, because I don't want to offend anyone who knew her or is dealing with that, because it is a horrible tragedy. But we need to remind people that there are other people who are suffering as well, and they deserve just as much attention, and they never get it. So yeah, I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. yeah, R.I.P. Lily James, and yeah.